and every conversation bring us closer to a healthier mind. And today I have my special guest. She is empowerment life coach, no other none Miss Zerina Derveni.
Thank you for having me on, Daniel.
Welcome, Ms. Zerina, once again on one of my podcasts. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Sure. My name is Zerina, and I am a life coach, and I coach women, and more specifically, high achieving women. And I focus on areas of their lives that they need, support on or help on. And it could be anywhere from their personal lives to their professional lives.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Ms. Zerina. Thank you. And today, let's talk about mental health awareness for women in today's digital world. So tell us, the women today often navigate a digital world that demands they both high performing professionals and curated personas. How does this double click expectation excelling in a reality while meaning a digital facade create a distinct mental load?
I mean, it's a lot, right? And a lot of the feedback I get from women is, their nervous system is chaotic, right? There's a lot of pressure they put on themselves. There's this idea of perfectionist that they have that keeps them, kind of doing way more than they should because they're trying to reach this level of perfectionist that doesn't exist. So I think, the digital world, there is this expectation, especially if you're a high achiever as a woman, that you'll put on yourself just naturally being who you are. And then you're missing out a lot on the reality part of life where all the things that you see, it's just, you got to know that that's just in the digital world, that's social media, that's in the creativity space, and you can't lose sight of the reality and putting energy in your actual reality, the life that you really live. But I find a lot of times women are just overwhelmed, their nervous system is chaotic, and they're just trying to navigate and understand, like, how can I perform in this area of my life digitally, and how can I show up and perform in the actual physical world. So yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot indeed, and very well said, Miss Serena. Very well said. Social comparison is not new, but the digital world delivers into high definition 24/7. How is this impact uniquely acute for women, given the persistent cultural focus on appearance, relational success, and having it all?
Yeah, I mean, comparison is one of the probably most challenging emotional, a negative emotion that you need to understand. And I think, like anything with mental health related, there's always like a root cause to an emotion. So if you're someone who's feeling this comparison or feeling the pressure to keep up or, compare with what's out there, I would always say, let's look at the root, right? The root of the
Yes.
problem, and that's usually related. But look, it's out there. It's going to be there everywhere. You can obviously limit it and you can choose your algorithm as best as you can, or you can choose, which social media platforms you want to be on or see. I, I think this is where we need to practice self-control and resilience and know that, if you're happy with who you are deep down, then the comparisons, they'll come and go in waves, but it will be done at a more healthier rate versus like you putting so much pressure to keep up with, again, a very non-realistic world out there. But a lot of women struggle from it. I think, especially in the physical appearance, the beauty space, there's a lot of pressure to just constantly keep up. And I think, always when you're going through these moments in life, always bring it down to what you can control and bring it down to who you really are deep down and what really matters.
What really matters, people, is matters, especially for your own good. So don't compare yourself. The
I know
support
it's hard.
paradigm. No, God, those are curated, people. Curated. So let's talk about the support paradox, Miss Zerina. Online spaces can be incredible sources of community and validation for women. Yet they are also breed competition, judgment, and performative allyship. How do you help someone discern between a digital connection and drain versus those that genuinely sustain mental health?
I think you got to look at the quality of these support systems. I think there's so many now. I mean, anyone can really start a support group or a support system online, right? So I think it's definitely important for anyone who is looking to join to understand, the quality of them. And by quality, I mean like, you know, who's involved, what is the actual mission that these support groups are trying to do? How do you feel? It's really interesting because a lot of times women, and especially women, and men have it too, but women were just much more genetically prone to being intuitive. How do you
Mm,
feel when you look at these certain groups? How do you feel when you're even looking at options and wanting to select a certain support group? I think our intuition will always lead us the right way. And there's a difference between instincts and intuition. Your instincts is more out of survival fear. So your instincts, like, I need, safe space to talk. It's giving you that feedback, but your intuition will guide you which one makes the most sense, what resonates with you. And a lot of it is logical, but a lot of it is also very spiritual. And if you're someone who's done the work and or even doing the work, you're listening to your body, you're listening to your brain, your gut, your heart, and your body, and I think that will lead you. But research is important, and you want to make sure that you understand your values. Like, know what your family values are, know what your personal values are, know what your political values are. I think you want to be in a group where it's like-minded so you can actually express yourself and share experiences and learn from other people's experiences.
mm, yes, people experiences. So, Ms. Serena, beyond doom scrolling, what does the ambient anxiety from a digital ecosystem look like for women? Is it constant ping of a school group chats, the pressure to document family life, or the background noise of a global crisis?
Oh, wow. I think a little bit of everything. I mean, look, Zoom scrolling has become such a daily habit for many of us, but it's just so, when you think of it, like the time that you spend on your phone and what you could be doing with that instead, that's like more grounding and better for your health. It's insane when you sit and look at it. I mean, I get my reminders, my screen reminders on my phone, and when I look at the hours sometimes I spend on it weekly, it's a really good wake up call. And I think for a lot of us, it's like, how are we using our time wisely? We know that like being online and Zoom scrolling is not good for us, but it's addictive. So, like any habit,
Mm-hmm.
right? What's the
Mm-hmm.
root cause of that? And I think for a lot of us and a lot of the female clients I've worked with, there is a sense of distraction. There is a sense of avoiding or the sense of escape that we think we get from scrolling and looking at everything that's going on our phones. So it's really like understanding being an adult and saying, okay, that 6 hours a week that I wasted on Zoom scrolling, what could I have done? I'm sure we all have a list of things that we wish we can get to because of time. So you have to be, realistic, and you have to be in a sense of like loving yourself enough and wanting to do better and change some of those daily habits.
Yes, change those daily habits to a good one. In an era of oversharing and raw posting, has the digital space made it harder or easier for women to have a truly private mental health struggle? Where's the line between destigmatizing, is that correct? Destigmatizing and feeling pressure to perform your healing?
Mhm. I think once you get into the social media space and you start sharing personal details, you then automatically feel pressure to maintain that or keep up with that. So, again, it goes kind of back to your values. I talk a lot about values and boundaries in my coaching because I think it's so important in any space of your life. But it kind of goes back to doing some identity work. And it's like, okay, what do I want this social media platform for? If it requires you to share personal details because it's part of your mission, then go with it, but be very clear. Because the moment we're not clear with what we really, want to contribute or what value we're trying to bring, then we go into leaky decision making skills. And then you go into being very nervous like, should I share this? Should I not? But when you're clear on what you want to do and you're clear on the message, you'll avoid all of this, but you've got to have boundaries, you got to have guidelines. And I always say, like anything in life, depending on what your environment is, privacy is so important, and keep things private that that you cherish and value, that are, true to you and your core. And then what you're sharing on social media, if it's something that you don't care, if it's out, you won't care in 5 years, you won't care in 10 years, then that's something that's a good compass, internally telling you, okay, this is okay. But if you have a moment of, should I, shouldn't I wouldn't recommend sharing it. And I would look at ways that you can reframe that maybe so the messaging can still get out, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something so personal from you.
Very well said, Zerina. Truly, truly empowering answer. A woman's online identity is often fragmented. LinkedIn professional, Instagram mom, anonymous forum user. What is the mental health co-host or cause of maintaining these multiple context-dependent digital selves?
Hmm.
Miss Serena?
I've gone to a few workshops on this, and everyone that has done. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Oh,
can hear you.
great. Yeah, no, I was just saying I've been to a few workshops about this specific topic actually, and a lot of people would say and would recommend to stick to one platform and invest your
Mm.
resources to that one platform versus having like a varies of channels or platforms, because that's harder to sustain. Now, we all have an idea of like what resonates well for us personally or professionally. And I think, again, it's like having a more clear focus. If you stick to one social media platform and do well on that and put more energy on that, I think it'll be less overwhelming. But more importantly, the quality of effort that you put in will definitely show if you focus on one. And a lot of people who have had a large social media presence or following, or they're doing really well on it, stick to one platform. And that seems to be a reoccurring theme that I've heard of.
Yes, definitely. One platform, people, one platform. From having a live experience minimized in a comment sections to seeing a harmful stereotypes amplified algorithmically. How does the digital world specifically gaslight or invalidate women's emotional realities?
Oh, so much. I mean, this whole this whole concept of gaslighting, I think, has definitely become more acknowledged. I think we understand the term. We know when we're being gaslit. Now, when that's being done in social media, it's hard because we, like, human human nature, we focus on the bad. We don't focus on all the good comments. That one negative comment will really get to us. And again, I think it's really important to know yourself, your self-worth, to have an understanding that there are going to be comments that are negative, there are going to be comments that will gaslight you. And that's when you have this like knowing of who you are and intuitive feeling of not allowing it to get to you. And if you can, building resilience and just kind of like letting it flee in and flee out. Like, okay, I
Mm,
read that. That's not cool, but I'm not going to let that impact me. That's a muscle, right? That's a really a way of like, just like athletes train to get fit. It's like
yes.
mental health training, and that's a muscle you got to like keep practicing until you can really feel confident about it. And I do truly believe, Daniel, when your life, your personal life, like your reality life is good, you're not going to be affected by these comments. So it's always like interesting when we get affected by certain comments, or there's, we're being gaslit. It shows someone who's living a fulfilling life, and it shows someone who deep down is not happy, to see how the extension of how much they let that affect them negatively. So it's always a good indicator in life when you let the outside world affect you. It's like, how much external validation are you really depending on? Like, what's going on in your personal life? Because we all get it. We're all going to get negative comments. We're all going to get, not so nice people in our lives. And it's like, we just got to get rid of it and keep living our own lives.
Definitely. So, Ms. Zerina, as an empowerment life coach, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I definitely want to continue to grow my one-on-one sessions with my clients. I'm so lucky that I get to work with clients in North America, some in Europe. So expanding that side of the business, and more importantly, the content. So I'm constantly looking at ways to enhance frameworks, tools that can help women get from the self-awareness to the self-discovery way of being, because that's really when they feel empowered. So my goal as a coach is to empower my clients and guide them. But the results really that I'm looking for is once they actually feel that empowerment, and then they just, take life by their own terms, and what they go after what they really want. So I'm continuing that, and I've done some like really intense research to come up with frameworks that are effective. So I'm really excited to just continue that.
Well, good luck to your goals, Ms. Zerina, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a coach like you?
I think you can be a coach if there's a specific area that you think that you've done really well, or you can help others with. Like, find your story, right? Find that piece of coaching that you're so good at and you've done it and you can help others, then go for it. I think coaching is a growing business. A lot of us need coaches, and there's room for all types of coaches. So I would recommend going for it and finding a specific area that you're really good at that you can teach others.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for that advice, Miss Serena. So, what is your digital habit or boundary you personally instituted that has had most significant positive impact on your own mental health as a woman navigating this world?
So I think about 5 years ago, I stopped sharing personal stuff on my social media. I was never a big sharer, but I sometimes felt this pressure to share personal things. So I stopped that 4 or 5 years ago, and I love it because there is a sense of mystery to who I am in my personal life. I obviously share a lot about my coaching, but I kind of think that, there's this like attractiveness to having a life where there's a mystery, right? A lot of times, and ironically, a lot of my clients, they will not share nothing on social media. And then I have some clients that do, but a lot of them don't. And I love meeting people that have a private life, that know that social media is a platform, it's a channel, but it's not an outlet for their personal lives. So I found that for myself, like not posting anything personal and keeping my social media presence professional, has helped alleviate a lot of like maybe pressure I would have felt, where I can actually use a lot of that energy now into, my actual work, or into, again, going back to, like, I do a lot of research on coaching, and I think that's more effective than me putting a lot of that pressure on social media.
Yes, definitely. And for some women, particularly caregivers, the digital world can feel like necessary mental escape. For others, it's a source of enslavement. How can
Hmm.
we same tool be both, and how do you know which role is playing in your life?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think, again, it goes back to understanding yourself and the values. I always use these two frameworks, but I think when you're looking at your habit, and and this is like any negative habit, it's, are you trying to forget, right? Are you trying to forget what's going on in the reality world, like escape, or are you trying to forget for that moment? So I think maybe asking yourself those two questions, right? Forget could be denial, escape could be still the sort of avoidance, but I think you have to just really figure it out. And we hear this a lot, and I don't know why we still think, like, in our subconscious brain, that social media, there's a sense of reality to it, but we always hear it's all fake, or like behind closed doors everyone's dealing with something. So
True.
I think, understanding your habit, whether you're avoiding or escaping it, is a really good start, so that you can do a bit more work internally on why. And then, being very logically clear, reminding yourself that social media is a facade, like it's fake, like it's aesthetically pleasing, yes, but it's fake. It's not the reality of many people. Like a lot of people, like the normal human experience, they're going through their own stuff. So you're a lot more aligned than you think you are.
Yes, definitely. You are more than what you think, people. So, Ms. Irina, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 third season, and my food 101 in sixth season too, geography 101 love letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101, our fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101, fourth season, and Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Ms. Arena, if you could collectively redesign the digital experience with women's mental health as a primary value, what would one core principle or feature change look like?
Hmm. Wow, this is such a good question.
Thank you.
Maybe I think something that would probably help is putting limitation on things so we can have more of a focus. So maybe coming up with a way to put a limit, like if you're on Instagram, you got 10 minutes, and stick to like three different types of filters that you want to see. So I think having a time limitation, filters put in, would probably be better, because then we would not just zoom scroll. I think we would focus more on things that we actually are interested in, and it would be a more positive experience.
Mhm. Definitely, Miss Zerina Derveni. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Thank you. Yeah, so you can find a lot of my different services on my website, which Daniel has up here. So it's at zerinalifecoach.com. and contact me. There is a section there where you can reach out and we can talk, set up a complimentary call, and see if coaching is for you or just, I mean, I'm a life coach, so any sort of conversation around life, I'm more than happy to have a full conversation on it and hear your thoughts about it. So yeah.
Yes, people, let's support Ms. Zerina Derveni because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering empowerment life coach will rise. And Ms. Zerina will be my guest on Coaching 101 sooner or later. So, Ms. Zerina, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel.
Bodycom people, see you soon. Again, Ms.